The alarm bells screamed through the corridors of Station Zephyr 9, their shrill cry cutting through the usual hum of machinery. Captain Elena Rodriguez pressed her palm against the scanner and rushed into the command center, her boots clicking against the metal floor. The holographic display showed dozens of red dots moving toward their position. "Report!" she barked, settling into her command chair. Lieutenant Chen's fingers danced across his console. "Unknown vessels approaching from the Vega sector. 23 ships, ma'am. They're not responding to our communication attempts." Elena studied the tactical display. The approaching ships were sleek, angular things that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. She had never seen anything like them in her 15 years of space service. "Any identification signatures?" "Negative. These aren't in our databases. The designs are completely foreign." The main screen flickered to life, showing the approaching fleet in stunning detail. Each ship was roughly the size of a human destroyer, but their construction was unlike anything humanity had ever built. Instead of the practical, blocky designs humans favored, these vessels curved and flowed like living creatures. "Ma'am," Communications Officer Patel called out, his voice tight with tension. "We're receiving a transmission. It's not in any known human language, but the computer is working on translation." Elena nodded. "Put it through as soon as you have something." The station around them was humanity's farthest outpost, built at the edge of known space to serve as an early warning system and research facility. 3,000 souls called Zephyr 9 home, including families, scientists, and military personnel. If these unknown ships meant harm, there was nowhere to run. "Translation coming through now," Patel announced. A synthesized voice filled the command center, cold and mechanical, despite the computer's attempts to make it sound natural. "Attention, primitive species. You have constructed this abomination in sacred Kethvar territory. Remove your presence immediately or face extinction." Elena felt her blood run cold. First contact with an alien species, and it was a threat. "Any response from Fleet Command?" "Still trying to reach them, ma'am. The communication relay is acting up again." The captain stood and straightened her uniform. They were on their own. "Open a channel. Let's see if we can talk our way out of this." "Channel open." "Ma'am?" Elena took a deep breath. "Unknown vessels. This is Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Human Colonial Administration. We claim this system under the Terran Expansion Charter. We have established legitimate settlement here and have no knowledge of any prior claims to this territory." The response came quickly, filled with what could only be described as contempt. "Humans. We have observed your species for some time. You spread across the galaxy like a disease, consuming resources and destroying the natural order. The Kethvar Dominion has claimed this sector for 3,000 of your years. Your ignorance is not an excuse." 3,000 years? Elena whispered to herself. These aliens had been in space longer than human civilization had existed. She keyed the communication again. "We had no knowledge of your claims. Perhaps we can reach some kind of agreement. There's plenty of space for both our peoples." Laughter filled the channel, if it could be called laughter. The sound was more like grinding metal than anything expressing humor. "Agreement? With bacteria? You misunderstand your position, human. You are insects that have wandered into a domain far beyond your understanding." On the tactical display, the alien ships had formed a perfect sphere around the station. Elena realized with growing dread that they had been completely surrounded while she was trying to negotiate. "Your species builds crude metal boxes and calls them starships," the alien voice continued. "You burn chemical fuel like primitives and think yourselves advanced. We have mastered technologies that would seem like magic to your simple minds." Elena's jaw tightened. She had spent her career fighting pirates, mediating disputes, and protecting human colonies from various threats, but she had never been insulted quite so thoroughly. "Our crude metal boxes," have taken us to every corner of the galaxy. Our primitive fuel has powered the greatest expansion in known history. Expansion born of desperation and overcrowding, no doubt, typical of lower species. The alien's tone grew even more condescending. You multiply without wisdom, consume without thought, and spread without purpose. The galaxy was peaceful before your kind learned to leave their home world. Lieutenant Chen looked up from his station, his face pale. "Ma'am, they're charging weapons. Energy signatures are off the charts." Elena felt the weight of command settle on her shoulders. 3,000 lives depended on her next decision. She could surrender, hoping the aliens would show mercy. She could try to evacuate, though their ships were clearly faster and more maneuverable. Or she could fight. "Ma'am," Chen continued, "our weapons are online, but their shield technology is completely unknown. We don't know if we can even damage them." The alien voice spoke again, broadcasting to the entire station now. "Humans of this pathetic construction, you have one of your hours to evacuate. After that time, we will demonstrate why the Kethvar rule this sector of space." Elena closed her eyes for a moment, thinking of her daughter back on Earth, probably just getting ready for school. When she opened them again, her resolve had hardened into something unbreakable. "All stations battle alert," she announced. "Seal all sections and prepare for combat." "Ma'am," Patel said quietly, "they clearly have superior technology. Maybe we should consider evacuation." Elena turned to face her crew. "Let me tell you something about humans that these aliens clearly don't understand. We don't back down from bullies. We don't surrender our homes without a fight. And we sure as hell don't let anyone tell us where we can and can't live in this galaxy." She activated the general communication system. "Attention all personnel. We are being threatened by an alien force that considers us inferior. They demand we abandon our home, our research, everything we've built here. I want everyone to know that we will not comply." The captain paused, looking around the command center at her crew's determined faces. "These aliens think we're primitive. They think our technology is crude. They think we're insects to be stepped on. They're about to learn why humans have conquered half the galaxy in less than 2 centuries. She opened the channel to the alien fleet. "Kethvar vessels, this is our final response. Station Zephyr 9 is a sovereign human territory. We will not abandon our home. If you want us gone, you'll have to remove us by force." The response was immediate and filled with rage. "Foolish creatures! You dare defy the Dominion? We will obliterate your station and scatter your atoms across the void." Elena smiled grimly. "Come and try." The alien ships began their attack run, their exotic weapons charging with energies that made the station's sensors scream warnings. But Elena had noticed something during their conversation. For all their advanced technology and superior attitudes, the Kethvar moved in predictable patterns. Their formation was perfect, their approach by the book. "Chen, target the lead ship. Maximum power to forward shields." "Ma'am, targeting the flagship. Weapons ready." "All personnel, brace for impact." The first alien weapon struck Zephyr 9's shields like a hammer blow from the gods themselves. The station shuddered and groaned, emergency lights flickering as power fluctuated. The shield generators screamed under the assault, but they held. "Return fire!" Elena ordered. Zephyr 9's main guns erupted in brilliant streams of coherent energy, lancing out toward the alien flagship. The humans had built their weapons with one philosophy in mind. If something needed to be destroyed, use enough firepower to vaporize it completely. The alien ship's shields absorbed the first volley, but Elena could see the energy fluctuations on her displays. Their defenses were strong, but not invincible. "Again! All batteries! Continuous fire!" The human weapons hammered at the alien vessel relentlessly. Unlike the precise, calculated shots the Kethvar used, human tactics emphasized overwhelming firepower. If one shot wouldn't do the job, use 100. The alien ship's shields began to flicker under the sustained bombardment. Elena could see the surprise in their enemies' movements as their perfect formation began to waver. "Impossible," came the alien commander's voice over the communication channel. "Your primitive weapons cannot penetrate Dominion shields." Elena keyed her microphone. "Here's something else about humans you should know. We don't believe in impossible." The alien flagship's shields collapsed just as the rest of the Kethvar fleet opened fire on the station. Zephyr 9 rocked under the combined assault, but her guns never stopped firing. The human philosophy of warfare was simple. Never give up, never surrender, and always hit back twice as hard. The damaged alien ship tried to retreat, but Elena wasn't about to let them escape. "Chen, target their engines. Let's see how superior they feel when they're drifting in space." "Target locked, ma'am." "Fire." The human weapons found their mark, and the alien flagship's propulsion system exploded in a brilliant flash of exotic matter. The vessel went dark and began tumbling slowly through space. The rest of the Kethvar fleet suddenly seemed less confident. Their perfect formations broke apart as they tried to adapt to human tactics they clearly didn't understand. These aliens had probably fought dozens of species over their long history, but they had never encountered anything like humanity's chaotic, overwhelming approach to warfare. "Ma'am," Chen reported, his voice excited despite their desperate situation, "we've taken down their flagship. The other ships are changing course." Elena allowed herself a moment of satisfaction before the reality of their situation reasserted itself. They had damaged one alien ship, but 22 remained. Her station's shields were failing, and they were running low on power. "Ma'am," Patel called out, "incoming transmission from the alien fleet. Put it through." The voice that came through the speakers was different this time, younger somehow and filled with uncertainty. "Human Commander, this is Sub-Commander Veltar of the Dominion Fleet. You have surprised us with your resistance." Elena smiled grimly. "Just getting started, Sub-Commander. Our tactical computers cannot predict your combat patterns. Your weapons lack elegance but possess crude effectiveness. Your strategy appears to be random." "We call it improvisation," Elena replied. "Something your perfect formations don't seem to handle very well." There was a long pause before the alien spoke again. Perhaps we may have underestimated your species." Elena felt a spark of hope. Maybe, just maybe, she could turn this situation around. "Sub-Commander, I propose a temporary ceasefire. Let's talk before more ships get damaged." Another pause. Elena could almost hear the debate taking place on the alien command ship. "Agreed," came the reluctant response. "But know that this changes nothing. The Dominion's claim to this sector remains absolute." Elena settled back into her chair, her mind already working on their next move. The aliens thought humans were primitive insects, crude and predictable. They were about to learn that sometimes being underestimated was the greatest advantage of all. "Chen, stand down weapons but keep them charged. Patel, establish a secure channel with the alien fleet." "Yes, ma'am." Elena took a deep breath. The first round was over, and somehow they were still alive. Now came the hard part, convincing an ancient, superior alien race that humanity deserved a place among the stars. But if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was proving people wrong about their limitations. These Kethvar were about to get a lesson in human determination that they would never forget. Humans are colossal. Second document. The conference room aboard Station Zephyr 9 had never hosted alien visitors before. Captain Rodriguez watched as the airlock cycled through its sequence, her heart pounding despite her outward calm. After 6 hours of tense negotiations, Sub-Commander Veltar had agreed to come aboard for face-to-face talks. The airlock doors slid open with a soft hiss, and Elena got her first look at a living Kethvar. Veltar stood nearly 8 feet tall, with 4 arms and skin that seemed to shift between deep purple and black. His head was elongated, with large golden eyes that took up nearly a quarter of his face. Despite his alien appearance, Elena could read the wariness in his posture. "Sub-Commander Veltar," Elena said, stepping forward with her hand extended in the traditional human greeting. "Welcome aboard Zephyr 9. Veltar stared at her outstretched hand for several seconds before cautiously extending one of his own. His skin felt surprisingly warm, though his grip was tentative. "Captain Rodriguez, your species' customs are unfamiliar." Elena gestured to the conference table. "Please, have a seat. Can we offer you anything? Water? Food?" "I require nothing from your kind," Veltar replied, though he did settle into one of the modified chairs they had quickly assembled. His 4 arms arranged themselves in what Elena guessed was a formal position. Dr. Sarah Chen, the station's chief xenobiologist, entered the room carrying a tablet full of hastily prepared notes. She had spent the last 6 hours analyzing every scrap of data they had collected about Kethvar technology and biology. "Sub-Commander," Elena began, "before we discuss territorial claims, I'm curious about something. Your people have been in space for thousands of years, yet this is apparently your first encounter with humans. How is that possible?" Veltar's golden eyes narrowed slightly. "The Dominion controls 17 sectors of space, Captain. We have encountered 47 different species in our expansion. Most prove manageable." "Manageable?" "They accept Dominion authority after minimal demonstration of our superiority. Some resist initially, but they always submit once they understand the futility of opposition." Dr. Chen leaned forward. "And those who don't submit?" Veltar was quiet for a long moment. "There are always acceptable losses in the pursuit of galactic order." The temperature in the room seemed to drop several degrees. Elena felt her jaw clench, but she forced herself to remain diplomatic. "I see. And you expected humans to follow this same pattern?" "Of course. Your technology is primitive, your ship's crude constructions of metal and chemical propulsion. Your weapons lack sophistication. By all logical analysis, you should have surrendered immediately upon seeing our fleet." Elena exchanged glances with Dr. Chen. "But we didn't." "No. You did not." Veltar's tone carried a note of confusion. "Our combat computers analyzed your attack patterns for over an hour and could not predict your next moves. Your tactics seemed random, chaotic, without any underlying strategic doctrine." Dr. Chen smiled slightly. "That's because you were looking for patterns that don't exist. Human military doctrine emphasizes adaptability over rigid planning." "Impossible. All successful military campaigns require precise coordination and strategic planning." Elena laughed, surprising the alien. "Sub-Commander, humans have been fighting wars for thousands of years before we even learned to fly. We've fought in forests, deserts, mountains, oceans, and now in space. The one constant in all human warfare is that plans never survive contact with the enemy. Then how do you achieve victory? We improvise. We adapt. We use whatever works and discard what doesn't." Elena leaned back in her chair. "Tell me, Sub-Commander, in all your encounters with other species, have any of them ever damaged a Dominion flagship?" Veltar's silence was answer enough. Dr. Chen pulled up a holographic display showing human expansion over the last 2 centuries. "Sub-Commander, I'd like to show you something. This represents human colonization since we achieved faster-than-light travel." The display showed Earth as a tiny blue dot, then exploded into lines of expansion, reaching in every direction. Thousands of colonies, mining operations, research stations, and trading posts spread across the galaxy like wildfire. In 200 years, humans have established settlements in over 3,000 star systems. We've colonized planets with gravity 3 times Earth normal, worlds where the atmosphere is poison, moons where the surface temperature could melt lead. Veltar stared at the display. This cannot be accurate. Such expansion would require millions of ships, billions of people. 12 billion humans live off-world now, Elena confirmed. And yes, we've built millions of ships. When humans want something, we don't wait for permission. We build it ourselves. But your technology is so primitive. How could you achieve such expansion with chemical rockets and metal hulls? Elena smiled. That's where you're wrong, Sub-Commander. Our technology isn't primitive. It's practical. When a human engineer designs a ship, they don't ask, how elegant can we make this? They ask, how many can we build, how fast, and how cheaply? Dr. Chen activated another display showing human ship construction. A single human shipyard can produce 50 vessels in the time your builders complete one. Our ships might not be as advanced individually, but we can field 100 for every one of yours. Veltar seemed to shrink into his chair. Quantity over quality. A crude approach. An effective approach, Elena corrected. Sub-Commander, let me ask you something. How many ships does the Dominion have in total? That information is classified. I'll tell you how many ships humanity has. Over 2 million active vessels, with production capacity to double that number every 5 years. The alien's golden eyes widened. 2 million? Military vessels, cargo ships, exploration craft, colony transports, mining platforms, research ships. Humans build them all. Elena leaned forward. Sub-Commander, you said the Dominion has encountered 47 species. How many ships did the largest of those species possess? Veltar was quiet for nearly a minute. The Velthari Confederation had perhaps 300 vessels at the height of their power. And they resisted Dominion expansion? For nearly a year. They were considered exceptionally difficult to pacify. Dr. Chen whistled softly. Sub-Commander, if 300 ships gave you a year-long war, what do you think 2 million ships would do? This is impossible. No species could build such numbers without depleting entire star systems of resources. Elena activated the room's main display, showing real-time feeds from human colonies across the galaxy. Sub-Commander, let me introduce you to human engineering. The display showed massive mining operations, stripping asteroids down to their component atoms. Factory ships the size of small moons assembling everything from starship hulls to atmospheric processors. Orbital farms producing food for billions. Fusion reactors turning hydrogen into limitless energy. Humans don't just colonize worlds, Sub-Commander. We transform them. We turn dead rocks into garden paradises. We mine asteroid belts down to the last grain of dust. We build cities in space and farms in the vacuum. Veltar stood abruptly, his forearms gesturing in what Elena guessed was agitation. This changes nothing. The Dominion has claimed this sector for 3 millennia. Your expansion is illegal under galactic law. Whose galactic law? Elena asked calmly. The Dominion's law. A law we never agreed to follow. Elena stood as well, though she had to crane her neck to meet Veltar's eyes. Sub-Commander, you keep talking about Dominion claims and galactic order, but here's what I think really happened. She activated a star chart showing the local galactic region. The Dominion expanded into empty space and claimed 17 sectors. You encountered primitive species who couldn't resist your technology, so you conquered them. You built your entire civilization on being the biggest fish in a very small pond. The Dominion is the supreme power in this region of space. Was the supreme power, Elena corrected, until you ran into humans. Dr. Chen pulled up another display showing human military doctrine. Sub-Commander, I want you to understand something about human warfare. We don't fight to conquer, we fight to survive. And when someone threatens our survival, we don't just defend ourselves. We eliminate the threat permanently. You speak of war as if you welcome it. Elena shook her head. We hate war, but we're very, very good at it. Do you know why? Veltar remained silent. Because for most of human history, we were our own worst enemies. Humans have fought each other across every continent of our home world. We've developed weapons capable of destroying our entire planet. We've created strategies for warfare that other species can't even comprehend. Dr. Chen nodded. And then we learned to work together. All that creativity, all that destructive potential, all that experience in warfare, focused outward instead of inward. Elena walked to the viewport, looking out at the alien fleet still surrounding the station. Sub-Commander, you said the Velthari gave you a year-long war with 300 ships. Let me tell you what happens when you threaten human colonies. She turned back to face the alien. We don't send one fleet to engage you. We send everything, every ship, every weapon, every human who can hold a rifle. We don't fight for territory or resources or galactic law. We fight for our families, our homes, our very existence. Your threats do not concern the Dominion. Elena smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Sub-Commander, I want you to send a message back to your superiors. Tell them that Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Human Colonial Administration offered them a choice. What choice? The Dominion can recognize human territorial claims and establish formal diplomatic relations. We can share technology, trade resources, maybe even become allies. And the alternative? Elena's smile turned predatory. The alternative is that your 17 sectors become a battleground that will make your war with the Velthari look like a minor disagreement. Veltar's skin shifted to a darker purple, which Elena guessed indicated fear or anger. You would threaten the entire Dominion over one insignificant station? Sub-Commander, you still don't understand. This isn't about Zephyr 9. This is about respect. Elena moved closer to the alien. You came here expecting us to submit like every other species you've encountered. You called us insects, primitives, bacteria. You threatened to destroy our home. But we haven't destroyed anything. We offered you the chance to leave peacefully. Elena laughed, a sound that made Veltar step backward. Sub-Commander, peaceful evacuation? That's not how humans work. When someone threatens our home, we don't run. We dig in, we fight, and we win. Dr. Chen brought up one final display, showing human population growth and expansion projections. Sub-Commander, even if you destroyed Zephyr 9 and everyone on it, do you know what would happen next? Veltar shook his head slowly. 10 human fleets would arrive within 6 months. They would hunt down every ship in your fleet and destroy them. Then they would follow the survivors back to Dominion space and demand answers. Elena nodded. And if the Dominion refused to provide those answers or tried to resist, every human ship in the galaxy would converge on your territories. 2 million vessels, Sub-Commander. How long do you think 17 sectors would last against 2 million very angry humans? This is madness. No species wages war on such a scale. No species except humans, Elena agreed. We don't fight limited wars, Sub-Commander. We don't engage in surgical strikes or measured responses. When humans go to war, we go to war with everything we have. Veltar sank back into his chair, his 4 arms hanging limply. What do you want from us? Elena sat down across from him. Recognition, respect, acknowledgement that humans have a right to exist in this galaxy without asking permission from anyone. The Dominion Council will never accept such terms. Then the Dominion Council will learn what happens when they underestimate humans. Elena leaned forward. Sub-Commander, you came here expecting to find primitives. Instead, you found a species that has conquered half the galaxy in 2 centuries. You expected easy submission. Instead, you found people willing to fight impossible odds rather than abandon their home. Dr. Chen cleared her throat. Sub-Commander, there's something else you should know about humans. We don't just fight well. We also make excellent allies. The choice is yours." Veltar looked between the two humans, his golden eyes reflecting a new understanding. "You really would fight the entire Dominion, wouldn't you?" Elena nodded without hesitation. "To protect our people? To defend our right to exist?" "Absolutely." The alien commander was quiet for several minutes, processing everything he had learned. When he finally spoke, his voice was thoughtful. Perhaps the Dominion has been mistaken about humanity." "Perhaps," Elena agreed. "The question now is what you're going to do about it." Humans are colossal. Third document. 6 months after the confrontation at Zephyr 9, Captain Elena Rodriguez stood in the Grand Council chamber of Kethvalan Prime, the capital world of the Dominion. The chamber was a marvel of alien architecture, with flowing curves and surfaces that seemed to shift color with the light. Hundreds of Kethvar representatives filled the amphitheater-style seating, their golden eyes fixed on the small human delegation. Elena adjusted her dress uniform one final time and stepped forward to the speaker's platform. Behind her stood Dr. Chen, now serving as humanity's chief xenobiologist for First Contact Protocols, and Admiral Marcus Webb, who had arrived with the human fleet that now waited at the edge of the system. The arrival of that fleet had caused quite a stir. 50 human vessels had emerged from hyperspace 2 days ago, their crude metal hulls and chemical engines looking almost primitive next to the elegant Dominion ships. But the Kethvar had learned not to judge human technology by its appearance. Sub-Commander Veltar, now promoted to commander after his role in preventing what could have been a catastrophic war, approached the platform. His skin showed the deep blue coloration that Elena had learned indicated formal respect. "Honored Council," Veltar began, his voice carrying through the chamber's advanced acoustics. "I present Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Human Colonial Administration, Admiral Marcus Webb of the Human Defense Fleet, and Dr. Sarah Chen, Chief Xenobiologist. They come before us today to formalize the terms of coexistence between the Dominion and humanity." Elena stepped forward and inclined her head respectfully. "Honored members of the Dominion Council, I thank you for this opportunity to address your assembly." A murmur ran through the gathered Kethvar. Many had never seen a human in person, and Elena knew her small stature compared to their 8-foot frames must seem almost comical. But she had learned that humans had earned something far more valuable than physical intimidation: respect. High Counselor Thek Moran, ancient even by Kethvar standards, rose from the central dais. His skin was so dark it seemed to absorb light, marking him as one of the eldest of their kind. "Human Captain, your species has disrupted the order of this sector in ways we did not anticipate." Elena smiled. "High Counselor, humans have a saying: expect the unexpected. We've found it serves us well." "Indeed." Thek Moran's 4 arms gestured in what Elena had learned was amusement. "Commander Veltar's reports of your capabilities were initially dismissed by this council as exaggeration. And now? Now we have seen your fleet. 50 vessels that our sensors indicate could destroy our entire defensive network within hours." The High Counselor's tone carried a note of wonder. "Ships that appear primitive yet possess destructive capabilities beyond our most advanced theoretical models." Admiral Webb stepped forward. "High Counselor, those 50 ships represent less than 1% of the human defense fleet. We brought them here not as a threat, but as a demonstration of human engineering philosophy." Another murmur ran through the assembly. Elena could see the impact of the Admiral's words rippling across the chamber. Dr. Chen activated a holographic projector, filling the air above the platform with images of human space. "Honored Council, we wish to share with you the scope of human expansion so that you might better understand our species." The hologram showed the galaxy from humanity's perspective. thousands of star systems lit up in blue, representing human colonies, mining operations, research facilities, and trade routes. The display was staggering in its scope. In the time since our species achieved faster-than-light travel, Elena continued, humans have established permanent settlements in over 4,000 star systems. Our total population now exceeds 15 billion individuals. High Counselor Thekmoran's skin shifted to a pale gold, indicating shock. 4,000 systems? In 2 centuries? Human expansion follows a simple principle, Admiral Webb explained. We don't wait for permission to exist. When we find a world that can support life or can be made to support life, we settle it. Commander Veltar stepped forward. Honored Council, I have witnessed human engineering capabilities firsthand. They do not simply colonize worlds, they transform them. Dead asteroids become mining platforms. Barren moons become agricultural centers. They build cities in the vacuum of space as easily as they construct them on planetary surfaces. Elena nodded. Commander Veltar speaks truly. But there's something more important than our expansion that I want you to understand. She gestured to Dr. Chen, who changed the holographic display to show human society. Images of families, schools, research laboratories, art galleries, and countless other aspects of human civilization filled the air. We don't expand for conquest, Elena said. We expand because we dream. Every human settlement, every ship, every research station represents someone's dream of a better life, a new discovery, a chance to build something amazing. Dreams, High Counselor Thekmoran repeated slowly. An interesting concept. The Dominion expands to impose order on chaos. And that's where our philosophies differ, Elena replied. Humans embrace chaos. We thrive in uncertainty. We see problems as puzzles to solve rather than obstacles to overcome. A younger Kethvar counselor, his skin showing the bright silver of youth, stood from his seat. Captain Rodriguez, if humans are so numerous and powerful, why offer coexistence? Why not simply take what you want? Elena turned to face the questioner. Because, honored counselor, humans have learned something important from our history. Conquest creates enemies. Cooperation creates allies. Admiral Webb nodded. Our species spent thousands of years fighting ourselves. We learned that victory through force is temporary. Victory through mutual benefit lasts forever. Dr. Chen brought up a new display showing human technological development. The Council should also understand that human advancement accelerates through cooperation. When we encounter new species, new technologies, new ideas, we integrate the best of everything. Your point? High Counselor Thekmoran asked. Our point, Elena said, is that humans could benefit enormously from Kethvar knowledge, and the Dominion could benefit from human innovation. She gestured to Commander Veltar. The commander has seen human adaptability in action. We don't follow rigid doctrines or perfect plans. We experiment, we adapt, we improve. But such an approach must lead to chaos, protested another counselor. Elena laughed. Chaos is just order we don't understand yet. Human scientists have a saying, if it works, it's good. If it works better, it's better. If it works perfectly, we try to break it to see how it can be improved. The assembly fell silent as they processed this concept. Finally, High Counselor Thekmoran spoke again. Captain Rodriguez, what specific terms does humanity propose for this coexistence? Elena straightened, shifting into her formal diplomatic mode. The Human Colonial Administration proposes a treaty of mutual recognition and non-interference. Humanity recognizes Dominion sovereignty over your established territories. The Dominion recognizes human sovereignty over our established territories and disputed territories. Joint exploration and development with benefits shared equally. Elena smiled. The galaxy is vast enough for both our peoples to expand without conflict. Admiral Webb added, "We also propose technology exchange programs. Human engineering methods could benefit Dominion construction projects, while HFY scientific knowledge could advance human research." Commander Veltar stepped forward again. "Honored Council, I have spent 6 months studying human society. I believe such an exchange would benefit both species enormously." Dr. Chen activated a final display showing potential joint projects. Massive space stations built with combined technologies, research expeditions to unexplored regions of space, even joint colonies where humans and HFY could work together. "The possibilities are limitless," Dr. Chen said, "but only if our species choose cooperation over conflict." High Counselor Thek Moran was quiet for several minutes, clearly deep in thought. The entire assembly waited in respectful silence for his response. "Captain Rodriguez," he finally said, "your species continues to surprise us. 6 months ago, we considered humans primitive insects. Today, you offer us partnership as equals." Elena inclined her head. "High Counselor, humans believe that all intelligent species have value. We prefer friends to enemies whenever possible. And if we refuse this offer? If the Dominion chooses to continue viewing humans as invaders in our space?" Elena's expression grew serious. "Then both our species lose the opportunity for a mutually beneficial relationship. And given human expansion patterns, we'll likely encounter each other again in the future under less favorable circumstances." Admiral Webb's tone remained diplomatic, but carried an unmistakable undertone. "The 50 ships in your system represent our peaceful intentions, High Counselor. But if forced to defend human colonies, our response would be comprehensive." High Counselor Thekmoran's skin shifted to deep blue, indicating contemplation. "Commander Veltar, you have studied these humans extensively. What is your recommendation?" Veltar stepped forward without hesitation. "Honored Council, I recommend immediate acceptance of the human proposals. Our species could learn much from their adaptability and innovation. More importantly, attempting to oppose human expansion would be catastrophic for the Dominion." Elaborate. "Honored Council, humans do not fight the wars we understand. They do not seek territorial conquest or resource extraction. They fight for survival, for their families, for their right to exist. Such motivation makes them impossibly dangerous as enemies and invaluable as allies." Elena felt a surge of gratitude toward the HFY commander. His support could make the difference in these negotiations. High Counselor Thek Moran rose from his seat, his ancient frame commanding attention from the entire assembly. "This council will now deliberate. Captain Rodriguez, Admiral Webb, Dr. Chen, you will be provided quarters befitting honored guests while we consider your proposals." Elena bowed formally. "High Counselor, we await your decision." As the human delegation was escorted from the chamber, Elena could hear the buzz of excited conversation beginning among the HFY representatives. The debate would likely continue for hours, possibly days. 3 days later, Elena stood once again in the council chamber. This time, the atmosphere was markedly different. Where before there had been uncertainty and suspicion, now she sensed anticipation. High Counselor Thekmoran rose to address the assembly. "After extensive deliberation, this council has reached a decision regarding the human proposals." Elena held her breath. "The Dominion formally recognizes human territorial claims and sovereignty over all systems currently under human control. We accept the proposed treaty of mutual non-interference and cooperation." The chamber erupted in a mix of approval and discussion. Elena felt her knees go weak with relief. Furthermore, the High Counselor continued, "The Dominion invites the establishment of joint research stations and cultural exchange programs. We believe both species will benefit from such cooperation." Commander Veltar approached the human delegation, his skin showing the bright green of satisfaction. Captain Rodriguez, I believe this is the beginning of a new era for both our species. Elena extended her hand in the human gesture of greeting, and this time Veltar grasped it firmly without hesitation. Commander, I couldn't agree more. Admiral Webb stepped forward. High Counselor, the human defense fleet is prepared to establish joint patrol routes to ensure the security of both our territories. Acceptable, Admiral. Your fleet's capabilities would be most welcome in protecting this region from external threats. Dr. Chen was practically bouncing with excitement. The research possibilities alone are staggering. Kethvar biotechnology combined with human engineering could revolutionize both our civilizations. As the formal ceremonies concluded and treaties were signed, Elena reflected on how far they had come. 6 months ago, humanity had been an unknown species facing the threat of extinction from a superior alien force. Today, they were partners in one of the galaxy's most powerful alliances. But more than that, they had proven something fundamental about human nature. When faced with impossible odds, when threatened with annihilation, when told they were too small and weak to matter, humans had done what they always did. They proved everyone wrong. Standing in the Grand Council chamber of an alien civilization, surrounded by beings who towered over her both physically and technologically, Elena Rodriguez smiled. Humans were indeed colossal, but not in the way their enemies expected. They were colossal in spirit, in determination, in their refusal to accept limitations. They were colossal in their ability to turn enemies into friends and obstacles into opportunities. As she watched human and Kethvar representatives working together to plan their shared future, Elena knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, and humanity was finally ready to explore it not as conquerors, but as partners in the greatest adventure of all, the search for knowledge, friendship, and understanding among the stars. The age of human expansion was just beginning, and it would be even more magnificent than anyone had dared to imagine.